want to work to bridge the digital gender gap, recognizing there's a digital revolution taking place, and we don't want women and girls to get left behind. We want a digital revolution for all women and girls to ensure equal access to technology. We want to equip women and girls to lead in AI and digital innovation, and we want to ensure their privacy and safety in digital spaces. We also want to continue to advance women's leadership and their spaces and decision-making capacities. We want women to be able to, engage in all decision-making spaces in their highest capacity and increase women's participation in all levels. And finally, we want to continue to work on climate justice. We want to ensure we're prioritizing women and girls' rights to climate adaptation, ensure that they're protected, and that they're benefiting from new and emerging jobs in some of these areas. Finally, as we look to women in financial spaces and the economic empowerment of women, we have to continue to promote the Women Empowerment Principles. We know them as the WEPs. And this continues to play a critical role in driving economic empowerment. It guides companies in advancing gender equality in the workplace. It ensures businesses are conducting gender pay gaps analysis, ensures businesses have gender action plans, and encourages the inclusion of women at all levels, especially in leadership. This is towards fostering an inclusive business environment and accelerating societal progress and economic development. So as we commemorate International Women's Day 2025 and ring the bell for gender equality, we have to acknowledge that this is a pivotal year for us, for all women and all girls. I welcome everyone in the room, I welcome all of us, to continue to take action and invest in promoting women's rights and gender equality as we push for all women and girls to have rights, equality, and empowerment. Thank you.
So that was a strong charge to take action. I hope that everybody in the room this morning has recognized an action point that you're either going to start taking action on or accelerate the action that you're already taking. Can I get an aye if we all agree? Sounds good to me. Our corporate partners are also very important in this process to create gender equality worldwide and particularly here in our island home, Jamaica. So to come and share with us, one of the key partners in this initiative is Ms. Yanis Gentles. She is the Chief Financial Officer at CNW Business and Flow. A round of applause for Ms. Gentles as she comes forward, please.
Good morning. The Honorable Olivia Grange, our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Miss Monique Long, Dr. Marlene Street Forest, all our distinguished women in the audience, and also our men who are our allies. We don't want to forget the men, right? It is my extreme pleasure to be here with you this morning at this great occasion celebrating women. I'm happy to be here as we commemorate International Women's Day, a day dedicated to celebrating incredible achievements of the women here in this room and across the globe. As the first female CFO of Flow Jamaica, a hat that I proudly wear, I am thrilled, thank you, to represent the company as we continue to be a sponsor of this annual event, symbolizing our shared commitment to diversity, inclusion, and fostering empowerment. At Flow, we believe inclusion and representation of women is just the right thing to do. Empowering individuals through connectivity and ensuring their equal participation in all spheres of life is at the core of our business. And we believe it is also essential in enabling our women to drive innovation, economic growth, and social progress. Today, we proudly stand with the Jamaica Stock Exchange and our fellow sponsors to reaffirm our dedication to creating an environment where every individual, including women, can thrive. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize and celebrate all the extraordinary women that are here today who have defied odds and continue to inspire with their remarkable achievements. Your contributions to society, business, and our communities are invaluable, and we are grateful for the paths that you have paved. Congratulations and commendations to the JSE for continuing to be a platform for advocacy in society. And on behalf of Flo, I wish for you all a wonderful day, week, and continued success in your journeys individually and collectively. Thank you.
Thank you. And oh, how we love to see female CFOs, CEOs, and females taking over the entire C-suite. Do we like that, ladies? Do we like that, gentlemen? Right, they continue to give us the safe answer. All right. Last year, I hosted this event, and we had a grand time ringing the bell. Did you know who helped us to ring the bell last year? Who helped us? Minister Grange. And she's here to help us to ring the bell again this year. And we know she loves ringing the bell, right? And this is the bell that every P rings. PMP, JLP, and all the people, right? Yes, we all ring this bell. So at this time, to have remarks, and then followed by the bell ringing for gender equality, is the Honorable Olivia Grange, OJ, CD, MP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, beautifully decked in purple today.
First, I would like to acknowledge all the powerful women in the room. And I want to tell you a little story. When I host the men on International Men's Day, we came up with a slogan, where the man them there? And where the man them there? And so I thought we have to find another line for the woman. So the woman would say, where the woman them there? Always around. You love it? Okay, so we're going to try it in a little while. So I want to thank Dr. Marlene Street Forest for inviting me 7 years in a row. And Dr. Marlene Street said earlier that she, she's happy that I find time, that my busy schedule to be here, but I wouldn't miss any opportunity to ring the bell. So it's my greatest pleasure to be here. I also wish to acknowledge Monique Long, who we work closely together on the UN Women Program, and Ms. Gentles, Chief Financial Officer, Cable and Wireless. It's good. You know, women are always the best to handle finances, right? I also want to acknowledge Dr. Una Clark. It's so nice seeing you here this morning. Former New York City Councilwoman. And of course, a lady who controls the biggest financial institution in Jamaica. And that is Miss Audrey Tugwell Henry, and you're doing an excellent job. I must acknowledge Sharon Coburn Robinson, the head of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, and again, the Bureau is doing an excellent job carrying out the gender agenda for the government. Of course, I have to really warmly welcome Denise Daly, my opposite, who will ring the bell with me today. Can you imagine Denise ringing the bell? That is my greatest pleasure, to hand you the bell and get a photo of you ringing the bell. And you can't get away from it this morning, right? And of course, Stacey Knight, and all, as I said earlier, all the powerful women because every one of us, every single one of us, we are powerful. So International Women's Day invites us to reflect on the progress made so far and to craft strategies to address the challenges that remain towards achieving gender equality. Jamaica joins the global community to celebrate the outstanding contribution of our women to national development. 2025 is a watershed moment for the gender architecture, as it marks 30 years since the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action in September 1995 at the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, China. It is indeed a privilege to participate in the 2025 annual staging of the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group and UN Women Caribbean's Ring the Bell for Gender Equality opening of the markets. This moment represents a tremendous milestone globally, as it is strategically aligned with the annual observance of International Women's Day. As women, we are here not just to celebrate how far we have come, but to demand more. More opportunities, more respect, more seats at the table. I was one who felt that getting into representational politics was not the right thing to do because it's the political divide. And I decided I'll get involved in community work and social work. And then I realized if you don't have a seat at the table, you know, have no talk. And that is why I decided to go out there and face the electorate and run for a seat. And I don't know if I should say fortunate or unfortunately, my opponent was at that time Mr. Bruce Golding, former Prime Minister. And when I beat him, I mean resoundly, I cried that night because I said, it shouldn't be Mr. Golding that I so handsomely take care of his retirement at the time. But I was proud as a woman that I was able to do so. But you have to be at the table. So you have to do things that ensure that you have a seat at the table and you have the opportunity to make your input. So I want to say that strength alone is not enough. Women should not have to be exceptional just to be treated as equal. We should not have to work twice as hard to earn half as much. That is why gender equality remains at the heart of Vision 2030, Jamaica's National Development Plan, and the National Policy for Gender Equality, which guides the ministry's gender mainstreaming program. It is why, as minister, under whom gender equality falls, I continue to take the lead regarding the development and the implementation of gender transformative policies, of programs, of plans, and projects. These are designed to shore up protection for all persons, particularly women and girls, who are disproportionately affected by a myriad of gender-specific issues. I've prioritized the implementation of the Sexual Harassment Protection and Prevention Act 2021 to strengthen protection against sexual harassment. And the Cabinet recently approved the establishment and membership of the long-awaited Sexual Harassment Tribunal. In fact, it was on February 17, and this tribunal will serve as the chief adjudicating body to enforce the sexual harassment legislation. And I'm sure all of you here this morning would be interested and should pay keen interest on the sexual harassment legislation because it will impact on all of you. You have a mechanism through which you can determine to take action if you are being victimized, discriminated against, or being abused, or sexual overtures are being made to you and it's affecting your work. So it marks a significant step in our efforts to combat sexual harassment as it will provide a dedicated gender mechanism for the timely and fair resolution of complaints. Intensive training, ladies and gentlemen, in sexual harassment investigation is ongoing to equip authorized officers, human resource professionals, and other personnel with the requisite skills to create and implement the sexual harassment workplace policies in line with the parameters of the legislation. As part of the implementation of the National Strategic Action Plan to eliminate gender-based violence in Jamaica, we have operationalized the continuum of care for survivors of gender-based violence, which was launched in June 2022. I continue to demand accountability to be aligned with global standards of equality to protect women, to empower them and ensure they have equal access to opportunities, to goods and services on a basis of equality. Gender equality is also an economic imperative. When women thrive, economies grow. When women lead, communities are transformed. Gender equality is not a distant goal, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fight we must win in our lifetime. It is a commitment we must renew every day, in every boardroom, in every parliament, in every school, in every home. We're not waiting for opportunities, ladies, are we? We are creating them. We have moved past merely breaking the glass ceilings. We're kicking down doors. We're opening doors. We're building a world where opportunities are the norm and accessible to everyone. Ladies, I'm speaking specifically to you. The moment is now. Let's make history together. Today, as we ring the bell for gender equality, join me to send a clear and powerful message. And the message is, women and girls belong at every table, in every space, in every decision that shapes the world. And we're ready to take on the world. Where the man them there? Where the woman them there? Always around. Happy International Women's Day. And God bless you all. Thank you.
We're now transitioning into the official ringing of the bell. Now that we've rung the bell for gender equality, it's time for some entertainment. Are you ready for some entertainment? And of course, we would have brought a gentleman here to entertain the ladies today. And he's going to be making way for the panel. And as we make way for the panel, I want us to not just hear the panel, but hear the points of action that we can take away to accelerate action in our different areas of work. So to entertain us, please make welcome nicely Mr. Daniel John Jackson, saxophonist. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Daniel Jackson. Wasn't that amazing? Absolutely. Man, they get me, right? Are you hearing me clearly from here? So while we sort out the miking matter, I'd like for you to whisper something beautiful to the woman beside you. Woman to woman. If there's a gentleman, you know, you're going to still say something nice. Maybe not a whisper. All right. I also want to indicate that Minister Grange will be leaving us shortly for cabinet, so please pardon her as she has to do the nation's duty. Thank you so much for being with us, Minister Grange. We really, truly enjoyed your company. You enjoyed the ringing of the bell. as we all did. Thank you so much for being our chief fighter and advocate for gender equality. All right. I gave you a charge earlier to make sure that you're listening clearly to the panelists. I'm going to introduce them individually, and they will approach the platform as I introduce them, and you'll give them all a round of applause at the end of each introduction. All right? Now, I'm going to first introduce to you Dr. Una Clark. She's the first Caribbean-born woman elected to the New York City Legislature and served the New York City Council from the 40th District from 1992 to 2001. Some of the young ladies at the back were not born yet. Let me hear the young ladies at the back. Yes, they are here and learning and growing as they listen to these stalwart women today. So Dr. Clark is the mother of New York Congresswoman Yvette Clark, who represents New York's 9th Congressional District. She was born in the Breadbasket Parish. Where is that? Yes, Dr. Clark migrated to the USA as a foreign student in 1958, well before I was born. Her advocacy includes issues of child welfare, education, health, mental health issues, economic development, and general welfare. A huge round of applause, please, for Dr. Una Clark. Coming next is the president and the CEO of the Scotia Group Limited and senior vice president, Caribbean North and Central. In her position, Audrey Tugwell Henry has the overall responsibility for the growth and profitable development of corporate, commercial, and retail banking. Retail banking, insurance, and wealth management through a network of branches and subsidiary companies across Jamaica, as well as North and Central Caribbean islands. Outside of the Scotia Group, she has a life outside of the Scotia Group. She is the president of the Jamaica Bankers Association, but still in the banking arena, right? And serves on the board of Mona School of Business and Management. A big round of applause for one of Jamaica's top bankers. Yes, that round of applause was kind of weak, but you know. All right, I now introduce Ms. Sharon Coburn Robinson, Principal Director, Gender Affairs, Bureau of Gender Affairs in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. She's all things gender, right? She spearheads the gender mainstreaming program in the ministry in strategic alignment with her lived experience in cross-cutting discipline of gender and development studies. She represents the ministry locally, regionally, and internationally to facilitate information sharing and awareness raising on a range of gender-specific matters. She enjoys the meaningful engagement of multiple publics as trainer, facilitator, in keeping with the ministry's programmatic focus on human capital development and social inclusion. A round of applause for Ms. Sharon Colburn Robinson. She was here from morning, pinning everybody purple. She makes way for the woman who eventually rang the bell. She doesn't like that joke, right? Denise Daly MP, mother, public servant, and entrepreneur. Denise Daly is serving as Member of Parliament of St. Catherine Eastern, 2012 to present. She serves as Shadow Minister of Local Government and Community Development. She is a Fellow Justice of the Peace and a member of the Lay Magistrates Association. She's an educator and businesswoman who operates the St. Dominic Preparatory and Business College. She has stressed the importance of educational transformation for Jamaica's progress. A round of applause, please, for Ms. Denise Daly, MP. Making way for Stacey Knight, a mother of two and accomplished attorney at law, an educator and woman of strong Christian faith. Everybody say, praise the Lord. Her legal practice is inclusive. She's an advocate for education. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer science. Love the woman in STEM, right? Masters of Science in Educational Psychology and an LLB. Prior to obtaining a CLE qualification as an attorney. She's one of 21 female candidates for the PNP in the upcoming general elections. Round of applause, please, for Ms. Stacey Knight. It's a big, wonderful panel, right? We still have 2 more women. You heard earlier from Ms. Monique Long. She's a human rights attorney and advocate, deeply committed to championing the rights of women, children, and other vulnerable groups. She's currently serving as planning and coordination specialist at the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and Women Empowerment, also known as UN. You know this, audience. UN? Yes, absolutely. With a strong foundation in human rights, she has worked closely with civil society organizations, government bodies throughout the Caribbean. She's also a trained mediator, tutor, facilitator. She's passionate about advocacy and driven by the profound desire to make meaningful impact on the most vulnerable and marginalized population. A round of applause for Ms. Long. Finally, rounding out the panel is Ms. Eunice Gentles. You heard from her earlier as well, introducing herself as the first female CFO at CNW Business and Flow. Now she's dedicated to her career in serving others and driving positive change. She's a partner to Richard. Big up the man them. What the man them there? When they're still there, when they sound puny now. Where are the ladies? Oh, yeah, let's try again, men. What the man them there? All right, not bad. Nice try. So let me complete this introduction of Miss Gentles. She has a whole 2 decades of experience in finance across the CMCG and telecoms industries. She is a dynamic and results-driven leader. As a chartered management accountant, she has built expertise in strategic planning, financial reporting and analysis, business control, with supply chain and commerce in multiple geographic locations. Everything financial and analytical, right? And finally, in 2003, she embarked on the new challenge as Flow's first female CSO, where she works alongside the team to drive strong business performance. A round of applause for her and the entire panel, please. I hope your notepads are out and you're as excited as I am to hear from these women. We're coming straight to Miss Long, right? And I'm sure she's going to give us a short response because we're going to keep it tight. So how can we have more women and girls involved in climate justice and digital inclusion?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think it's great for us to kick it off with that question, because one of the key things we're recognizing is there are a couple of areas that are new and emerging. And as we get more data, more information, more assessment and analysis of these areas, it becomes more important for us to ensure that women are also at the table as we expand. One of the key areas we've been seeing is the expansion of the digital framework. So we're seeing more things in AI, which also means there will be more job opportunities in AI, but we're also seeing there are also additional ways for harm to be created against women through AI. As we ensure that we are pulling women into these spaces, it allows women's voices to be heard on ensuring laws and policies around protection in digital, media, in the way the expansion of digitalization is happening, that women's voices are heard, that laws and policies have gender lenses in how things are being applied, that as opportunities come up for jobs and expansion, that women are also at the table for the jobs that are coming up, and that we continue to ensure that young women can see opportunities for themselves in some of these spaces. Similarly, when we talk about climate change and climate justice, We know that women and men are impacted very differently when crises come up. We've seen it in COVID, and we see it every time we have a hurricane or other disaster. So as we know, we're a small island developing state, and climate change impacts us very adversely in the Caribbean. And one of the key things we have to ensure is that women are participating in all of the dialogue, all of the planning, all of the response mechanisms around these particular spaces, because the lens, the experiences, and the livelihoods of women are impacted very differently. And again, unfortunately, when we think of one-size-fits-all approaches, the one size is usually for a man, right? So as we ensure that we are crafting responses that recognize the differences between men and women and ensure that we're really protecting them as best as we can, that involves ensuring women are at the table, especially in these emerging areas.
Amazing. So as we talk about, yes, a round of applause there. As we talk about the lives and livelihoods of women and looking through a gender lens, I want to ask about those gender bonds, Ms. Tugwell. What inspired that? Because you must have been seen through a gender lens, not true? Yes, and then also say a little bit more about the importance of financial literacy for women and girls.
Okay.
We still
Thank
have
you.
mics with cords. It's all
Yes,
good.
we still have mics with cords. Good morning, everyone. Well, I think let me start with financial literacy. Financial literacy is important for everyone because, when you think of economies, you have operations at the micro level, and that feeds into the macro level. And so, for as long as persons understand how to manage their finances, understand the nuances within the sector, then persons are better able to make informed decisions and better financial decisions, and that builds economies. So that is important, and each financial institution, as well as the government and non-governmental organizations, do have a role to play in supporting financial literacy. In terms of financial literacy for women, that is important because women, it sounds cliche, but women are the backbone of communities. We do a lot of caregiving, but we also run the homes, and women are very involved in schools and in churches and in communities. And so to the extent that women understand how to navigate the financial markets, then that is of significant value to the economy. What I would also say is disproportionately, and not just in Jamaica, women earn less than men. And so we are still on that path to gender equality in terms of income, even in countries where the law prohibits it, such as Jamaica. There is still some disparity there. So it is important for women to understand how, given the limited resources they have, how they can best save and invest and use their funds to drive economic growth. So that is very important.
All right. So women are earning less than men, generally speaking. And we also have the issue of unemployment. So I want to turn to this side of the panel and ask, what can we do about these issues? Especially the unemployment issue our women are facing. So let me go into the middle here and start with you, Ms. Daly.
Thank you very much. I think it might be still morning. And before I start, I really want to congratulate all the conceptualizers for this forum, and more so, Dr. Marlene Forrest. Believe me, it is needed. I strongly believe that we need to probably extend a little more and go into the communities where they are mostly affected. But I strongly believe that training, and it cannot be, as you said, a one size fit all. Women are different from men. Even though we want to be equal, but there are some differences. And therefore, when we are doing our training, we have to be very mindful that women have other roles to play. They can't neglect the homes, and therefore, training should be so organized that they can multitask. because don't care what you try to say, as women, we have to multitask. I strongly believe without trying to make us feel special, but because we are women and you know our roles, that we should be able to be given a proper space. It is not going to be given to us. And sometimes we can't even create it. So therefore, legislation should be part of going forward to make sure that no one is left behind, especially women and girls. I believe as financial institutions, we should look. I was just asking my friend from Scotia, always the pain pattern when you take a loan between the men and the women. And she agreed that the women paid quicker than the men. So and probably
Let the
more
women
better.
manage the money.
Exactly. So we need to really look at ways and means, creative ways. And women are more in entrepreneurial skills. And I do not believe that we are making and creating enough space to do training in that respect.
Yeah, I want to pass it to Ms. Knight to ask, so for the vulnerable women and girls, how can the more experienced and educated women who are already making way in society support them?
Thank you for that question. Well, one thing I'll say is that the Jamaica Stock Exchange is playing their part in answering that question by organizing a forum like this and inviting women from all walks of society. I understand that there are some young women here from high schools. This is how we can empower women and bring more women and girls to the table. Education is always the number one answer for me. I'm an educator before I became a lawyer, and I'm always an educator. Not just financial literacy, but we spoke about digital inclusion. In every area of life, civic participation, we find that when people are not educated from an early age, they don't catch on as well later on. And so we empower our girls and our women by starting to teach them digital inclusion, financial literacy, and really the power that women have in the world from a very early age. I don't want to leave out the boys, because boys also need to be taught about the power that they have. Just as human beings, we all need to be empowered by being educated early on. And because education does miss some people, mentoring on a one-on-one basis, having workshops, as I said, having forums like this. And as a legislator, because equality is something that we can't always achieve, we need to strive for equity. Equity is that fairness that says that because we're not both starting with the same assets and opportunities, sometimes some people need a little prop, a little push. And so legislation that perhaps favors employment of women, that employers could get maybe tax breaks when they employ women, that could help to reduce the inequity. Because as it is right now, 4.5, in last year's statistics, 4.5% of women are unemployed, whereas for men, it's just 2.6%. So we're not getting jobs. Even though we are more educated and usually more skilled and more job ready, men are getting the jobs. And so we have to, just as we're doing today, accelerate action, do real things, take bold steps to make a difference to how women and girls are brought to the table.
Yes, absolutely. And we said earlier that women are making 82 cents, according to some statistics, 60-something cents for every dollar a man makes. We know that that's not the case for Ms. Gentles. So we want to ask you, Ms. Gentles, to inspire the rest of us who wants to make money like yours, right? Like you're making, right?
That's a huge assumption. But I'll take it, I receive it.
In Jesus' name, amen. So, what are some of the challenges you would have had to encounter to become a woman CFO?
Wow. In all honesty, I think I've seen more opportunities than challenges on my journey to where I am today.
Love that.
And I've been supported by some great women who have become not just friends, but sisters, family. And I've been supported by some great men as well who have been my allies on the way
But the
here.
man them there,
It looked like them gone. I didn't hear them loud and clear just now. And these men have played a role in terms of my partner, in terms of my male managers as well, in terms of coaches and mentorship, which we spoke about. So we cannot underscore the need to have that kind of push, that kind of prod for women who need it even sometimes more than the men. When you think about your career path, who is helping you to have those conversations? I certainly had some people who were quite beneficial in my life who, you know, encouraged me to go higher and higher, who told me you can do it, who told me to take the risk. I think Dr. Street Forest spoke about women not taking risks as much as men, but I've always had men and women surrounding me who have encouraged me to take the risk, who have taught me the principles I need to stand up at the table, not just sit at the table, but stand up consistently for other women. I've also benefited from a strong mother who, she was a single mother, but she made sure there were values that would have been instilled in me that said, keep going, reach for the highest. If I got 99%, I can tell you that 1% that I missed was an issue, right? Because you always seek to excel. So in terms of challenges, I've had direction and redirection. I was supposed to be a pediatrician because as girls growing up in school, you know, you either want to be doctor, lawyer, nurse, or a teacher. There was nothing about CFO. I didn't know what a CFO was growing up. But eventually, over time, you are directed on the path on which you belong. And even with the challenges that come, you seek to overcome them with the people who you have standing with you and for you and pushing you along as you continue to encourage yourself as well.
thank you very much. Love that. I love the fact that she had strong men and women working with her to embolden her. Is that the story for all of us in the room? It's a story for you too. All right, it seems like we have a split room. Lots of people have similar stories and some people are on the other side, right? But luckily we are all here today. I want to go to Dr. Clark, right? Your daughter is New York Congresswoman Yvette Clark, right? So I want you to give us a playbook for women who are experienced, women who have gone before. How do we do that work to make sure that we're mentoring and bringing the women who are coming up? What's the playbook? Give us the playbook.
I think in many ways, leaving St. Elizabeth as a young person to Kingston and then to the United States, I went as a foreign student. And then not recognizing that there are laws you got to obey as a student, I ran into Harry Belafonte. I ran into a number of persons who were part of the civil rights movement. And I decided that I come to America, where I come from, I can sit wherever I want to sit, and I'm not coming to America for anybody to tell me when to sit, where to sit, or how to sit. So I decided, let me fight for where I want to sit. And so because of that, my children going to school, I had to be my own babysitter. So they went to school with me, and I would give them their homework and would always say to them, this is your homework, don't move a muscle, don't make a noise in the classroom so my classmates can feel that I am disrupting the classroom. So they went with their homework or with their crayon, and they know that I am doing my work, and I am the example of what hard work is, and you have your work to do. So their work for children and their work for adults. And so between my husband and I, we made sure that we exchanged who was going to do what on the weekend, who would do what during the week, who would pick them up after school, and to make sure that we didn't miss our class either. So I think that just being focused, and our problem, our task here now is to help women to focus on gender equality and what we mean when we say equality. I think that Shirley Chisholm said it best. If the men are at the table and they don't have a chair there for you, take your own folding chair and sit at the table and know what they're saying and doing. And so I've always made that and Shirley and I were real good friends. When I ran for public office, she was one of my endorsers, and she tells me, you can't be lazy and be a politician in New York. You gotta work around the clock, and I was willing to work around the clock. And then when they asked, how did it happen that you're the first ever immigrant? I'm not just the first Caribbean American, because Caribbean Americans were all excited. She is giving up her good job to run for politics with better people. And they would assign themselves with subway station. They would meet me in the morning to give out my campaign lit. And it was good that we had all of our accents from the Caribbean. So whether it was Haitian American that took one station, a Trinidadian, a Barbadian, a Guyanese, everybody was excited that I would give up my job and want to enter into politics. So I had a lot of support. So the thing that we are trying to do for young girls is to be a role model for them. They should feel that what you've achieved is going to be a piece of cheese for them.
Yes.
Because for us, we had to move all the rocks. Now they can walk on the pavement. So we just need to give them enough inspiration.
Yes.
And enough understanding of self that I'm not really competing against a man. I'm competing with what I have,
Yes.
what I can give.
Yes, yes, yes. All the women who will be bringing your folding chairs to the table, let me hear you. Okay. And that takes us to this question. What does accelerating action looks like? So we're going to be taking our folding chairs. We're going to be accelerating action for IWD. What does that really look like?
Wow. So accelerated action is awesome because it allows us to do so many things. Action is one of the things we use at the Bureau. We have a 4-step plan, the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The first A is access, unrestricted access. If you're going to accelerate action, you have to make sure that all the parties who need access can enjoy unrestricted access, so everything that they need to do. If you're going to accelerate action, you must have strategic alignment. So alignment is the second A that we look at. And how do we align ourselves to all of the relevant parties, partners, and so on? COVID-19 has taught us several lessons, and one of them is partnership. And the other P is participation. You must be a part of what you're going to achieve if you want to achieve the outcomes that you seek. So you put yourself into it, you show up, and you become a part of what you want to do. Accelerating action looks very different for many persons. In our space, in the gender architecture, we love to call it the gender architecture because it is a lot of moving parts and a lot of partners who are working together. When you accelerate action, you make sure that those parties who need to have what is considered as something that you need to advocate for, like this is our watershed year, 2025, because this is a year that we celebrate 30 years of moving in a direction based on what we agreed to so many years ago in Beijing, China, talking about the Beijing platform and declaration and platform for action. And that has some areas that look at different spaces for women and girls, and how it is that when women and girls achieve, men and boys also achieve. So the men and boys don't have to feel left out, because women do not get ahead without bringing their families and the rest of the communities with them. So when we accelerate action, we make sure that whatever it is that the persons need, and of course that's going to be situated based on the contextual realities, and we use a consultative approach. You don't just give somebody something because you think that's what they deserve or what they require. You are going to make sure that you ask. You do the consultative approach, you ask the questions. What does development look like for you? If you wanted to go into a training program, for example, what sorts of courses would you like to take to make you accelerate, to make you matriculate, to get you into a space that you need to get into, which you don't have now? So it's making sure that you dot all the I's, that you touch base with who you need to talk to, and that you partner and collaborate with all of the persons and parties that you need to. Look for the resources that are there, show up, and expect to wow persons with your results.
Show up and expect to wow. I like that. Yes, ma'am. I hope that we're pulling away different pieces of action that we're going to be applying to our work, because that's the point of today. If we don't accelerate action, might as well we didn't have this conversation. Not true? So we're coming down to a close, but I'll tell you two interesting things that we're going to do as we come to the close. I'd like one of the young women from the back and a male in the room to prepare to tell us two things that you're pulling away from the panel. So you can stand by to the side right there. I'm looking for you, right? One of the young ladies from the back and one of the men in the room to tell us what you're pulling away from the panel. And you'll only have 40 to 60 seconds. It's not whole day, right? So while they're making up their minds and they're coming, and I'm going to ask Mr. Ellis and someone from the exchange to help me to locate that man and that young lady. Now, a lot of things were uncovered today, issues that we need to look at. If we could say to the ministry, this is something that must be a focal point, what would it be? So I know we looked at discriminatory legal frameworks, imbalances in labor participation, unpaid domestic work, the digital revolution and what it means for women. Lots of things were uncovered. I don't know if you're making notes and looking at how you're going to implement policies in your areas of work, right? So I'm going to throw that to two of the women on the panel. Who wants to take it? Dr. Clark, go ahead.
First thing is to bring enough pressure that there is legislation, that there is law, and the law says you can't do this or you can't do that, but it's written in law, and therefore you have the law on your side for implementation.
Absolutely. Love that. Yes.
So I can't resist the urge to talk a little bit about the new legislation that everybody is talking about, the Sexual Harassment Protection and Prevention Act. Now, everybody knows that that has been long in coming. It has been in the pipeline for several years, and we agonized about it, and we were dragged up about it, and persons were upset about the fact that it took a long time, but there is due diligence that has to be observed. And so we are very happy that on the 17th of February, the cabinet approved that legislation. Now, why is it so important? It's important because for years, women had been experiencing sexual harassment and had no form of redress. They might have complained, but nothing might have been done because there was no legislation to say this is what we do when this happens and when a report is made. And so with that legislation, it means that we now have that space in the workspaces, in educational institutions, in accommodations, in spaces where there's landlord-tenant situations, that if somebody makes a sexual overture and it is not acceded to because this person does not want to receive that action, then there is a form of redress. We also have the partnerships with several stakeholders, public sector, private sector, community groups, and they are happy as well that women will walk freely without wondering whether or not somebody is going to harass them and they have no form of redress. And so once you know that something is in place, it is a deterrent, and it also provides that protection. And finally, for women in the workspaces, it creates a safe environment that makes you feel like you would jump out of your bed to get to work, because you don't have to worry that when you get to work there is any form of harassment. And if it happens, that there's a legislation that will treat with it. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing work being done there. All right, so I'm ready for the gentleman and the young woman to come forward while the panel thinks about their closing statement. If you could have a slogan about gender equality and women empowerment, what would that be? So we're going to take that from every single woman on the panel. If you're ever on a panel that I'm hosting, the last question is always as interesting as that. That one is a safe one, right? Last year we had a lot of fun with what I asked them, right? So where's the gentleman? Please come forward. Where is he? And the young lady, are they coming? We don't have shy people in here, you know. If we're empowered, we're ready to step up and step out. So your minister would want you to. Yes, sir. Come forward and represent the minister well. Oh, just anything that you're drawing from the panel. We're making it very easy, and you only have under 60 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can be hopeful that it's going to move from 82 cents up maybe to match the dollar. I say that
Or
because the movement here, for want of a better way of saying, of women can be held up as an example to the world. I think we probably have more women in parliament than, well, if not every other country, many, many other countries. And we have women in the corporate world. Still a lot to be done, but I think we can be proud of our progress.
Thank you. Yes, that money is going up from 82 cents. What you say, up to the dollar or beyond the dollar? Let me hear you, ladies, up to or beyond? And then the men are going to say, you know, they're marginalized. Then they have to catch up, and then we all accelerate all together. It's a continuous race for good. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Sabrina Barnes, and one of the things that I got from today's panel, matter of fact, commendations to the lovely ladies who are on the panel. It was very good. Dr. Una Clark said that foundational women put the rocks in place, and we young women in leadership should step on the platform, and that meant a lot to me. It resonated with me that not only are we able to position ourselves in leadership and to make changes, but we women turn the world upside down, so we have the mission to fix it.
Amazing. All right. And let me just pick up Sabrina. Since she's been in uniform now, she's a big US student. Always been an advocate. A round of applause for her, please. Representing the young people who are making a move. So which side should we start from? You want to start from there? All right, let's go.
My slogan would be, empowering women would empower the world.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go with this popular song. Well, for us older, not so young ones. Action, not a bag of mouth.
Yeah. We probably should sing that. Action.
Not a bag of mouth.
All right, get it together.
I'm going to follow with a song.
What?
Who run the world?
You don't sound certain. Who run the world? It's God run the world, though. But
So my
but
slogan is pivot for purposeful positioning.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Mine would be that gender equality is everyone's business.
Mine would be action with purpose.
Yes.
I like action, not a bag of mouth.
And we can all now sing it as a panel. Gracefully leaves. A round of applause for the ladies, please. An exceptional panel. Thank you very much. Yes. Oh, we want to take the panel photos? Or are we moving off? Oh, all right. So guess what? They can stay with us as the saxophonist comes. Yes. We will all stay here because we're so beautiful to look at. Right, ladies? Are they beautiful? Yes, because we're not bad mind, right? Good. Yes. 1, 2, 1, 2. Are you still breathing well?
Yes, I am. I can.
How do you feel to be able to be playing for these women here today like this?
I am truly honored to be playing for a powerful woman.
You hear the voice? I'm truly honored. So as he plays this last song, he's going to be playing us out. That's the last song? Them tell me say I have one more song. You have any more? You have another track over there? Because you're playing us out now, right? We're actually going back to work and such. And with this, we're going to have a great day at work, right? You want to go and tell them what's the next song that you're playing? Alana, come and help me with something as we leave. I want each of us to affirm at least 2 women before you leave here today. This is Alana. I have a coaching program for impact creators who are creating social change, and they're building up and creating clarity. And this is Alana. Tell everybody what you're doing.
Hi, so I'm Alana Leslie. I'm a creative entrepreneur venturing into the social development space by creating recreational spaces in Kingston.
All right, the 20-second version we're giving them today. So Alana, I affirm you and all that you're doing. You're an absolute movie star, and that is real, but I can't reveal certain things right here, right now. And I have big dreams for you. I believe in your dreams and the recreational play spaces that you're going to create for women, girls, and families. I affirm you, Alana. So now is when you get to return the affirmation. This is an example of what everybody's going to do for each other.
So, Tishana, I affirm you as a powerful, bold, confident, courageous woman. You are a fire starter, you are a world changer, and you absolutely bring light to every room that you step into. So I affirm you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Alana. She wasn't prepared for that. So I want everybody to get up on their feet, and you're going to affirm. You can affirm them as long as the song, right? Because after that, that's the last you're going to hear from me today. My name is Tishana, the Indomitable Impact Innovator Mullings. It was a pleasure serving you and the exchange today. Thank you very much. Refreshments are at the back, but after you have affirmed at least 2 women before leaving today. When the song starts, keep affirming. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.